At this point, I would like to call to order the November 19th meeting of the California Board of Naturopathic Medicine. Can we get a roll call to establish quorum, Rebecca?
Absolutely. Dr. Dara Thompson,
Present.
Dr. Mina Yoon,
Present.
Dr. Vera Singleton.
Present.
Thank you so much. Dr. Satara Tice,
Present.
Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Present.
Great. And Mr. Andy Yam and Dr. Bruce Davidson are absent with cause today. We do have quorum.
Dr. Thompson, you're muted.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. So at this point, we are going to call for public comment on items not on the agenda. Let's go through the different locations and see if there are any members of the public present. There are no members present in San Rafael.
There are no
members of the
public
Mina.
present in San Francisco. Sorry.
Dr. Vera here. There are no public members present at this location.
There are no public members in Vallejo.
And Dr. Tice.
There are no public members in Fresno.
Wonderful. Do we have anyone online, moderator?
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment for items not on the agenda, please click the raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Thank you. So then we'll move on to discussion and possible action on the Department of Consumer Affairs update. Are you doing that, Rebecca, or do we have someone from DCA?
We actually have Ms. Shelley Jones here from the Department of Consumer Affairs, and she will be providing this update.
Thank you. Hello and good morning. My name is Shelley Jones with the Department of Consumer Affairs, and thank you for the opportunity to join you today. We are very excited to announce we have 2 new members to the department's executive team. Governor Newsom appointed Lucy Saldivar as the Deputy Director of Board and Bureau Relations. Lucy previously served as Chief of Staff in the Office of Assemblymember Lisa Calderon from 2022 and Legislative Director from 2021 to 2022. She also held multiple roles in the Office of Assemblymember Jackie Irwin from 2017 to 2021. Lucy is a member of the Hope Leadership Institute and the California Latino Capital Association Foundation. Secondly, I'll introduce myself as the newest member of the department's executive team. I was appointed by Governor Newsom as the Assistant Deputy Director for Board and Bureau Relations. I bring 29 years of experience working with boards, and I have been with DCA since 2015, serving in several capacities with Board and Bureau Relations, as well as DCA's strategic organizational leadership and individual development and organizational improvement offices. Prior to joining DCA, I served in multiple roles at the Juvenile Parole Board with the Department of Corrections. We are very excited to be serving as your new Board and Bureau Relationship team, and I know Lucy looks forward to meeting all of you in the future. Finally, after 36 years of dedicated service as the Department of Consumer Affairs, DCA Director Kimberly Kirkmeyer recently announced she will retire at the end of this year. Director Kirkmeyer began her career at DCA as a student assistant in 1989. She was appointed by Governor Newsom as DCA Director in 2019. Within her first 6 months on the job, she navigated severe wildfires and the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, transitioning the department's 3,500 employees to telework. Director Kirkmeyer would like me to extend a special thank you for the honor and opportunity to serve as your director for the past 6 years. She would also like me to thank you for your continued hard work and dedication to the department, the state, and the consumers of California. Your work is invaluable, impactful, and integral to DCA's mission of consumer protection, and she knows it will continue for years to come because of the extraordinary staff of DCA. Moving on to training. Sexual harassment prevention training, as you may remember, is mandated for completion within 30 days of your appointment to the board and every 2 years thereafter. On October 27th, DCA launched its new sexual harassment prevention training in the Learning Management System, also known as LMS. So if you've completed the 2024-2025 version of sexual harassment prevention training, and you did that during the 2024-2025 calendar years, the new training will be automatically assigned to your LMS account on your transcript 2 months, or the equivalent of 60 days, before your 2-year mark from when you last took the training. If you have not yet completed the 2024-2025 sexual harassment prevention training, the new version was already assigned to your LMS account on October 27th. You may log in and begin taking that training. Going forward, the compliance deadline will either be 2 years from the last completion date for those that took the training already, or by December 27th for those that have not. Upon completion of the new sexual harassment prevention training, it will be automatically reassigned to your LMS account biennially. That will be 22 months from the last completion date, and that will give you 60 days to complete the training by your 24th month. If you have questions or need assistance accessing the training or your LMS, please reach out to us at memberrelations@dca.ca.gov. For unconscious bias training, DCA's training unit has developed a new unconscious bias training specifically geared for board members. This training will be added to member LMS accounts sometime this month in November, as well as incorporated into all onboarding when new members are appointed. You can find your training records under the transcript section of your LMS account. And again, if you need assistance accessing that, please reach out to us at Board and Bureau Relations. Every year through the Our Promise California State Employees Charitable Campaign, state employees, including board members, have the opportunity to support the nonprofit causes they are passionate about through payroll giving or one-time donations. These contributions have a positive impact on our communities and is another way for DCA to show it cares for California. The campaign runs through December 31st, and DCA will be emailing information to board members sometime this month. In the meantime, please contact Board and Bureau Relations if you have any questions or would like information on how you can give. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today, and let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation. I'm personally excited that you all made a new sexual harassment training. Having been on the board for over 10 years, I took the same one several times. Thank you so much for that. I'd like to see if there are any questions or comments from our board members. And I think what I'd like to do, so that we can just see if there are any members of the public present in those locations at the same time, is just go through it, see if you have any questions, and say no questions, or state your question, and then also let us know if there's any members of the public there. Okay. So, Dr. Yoon, did you have any questions or comments, and do you have any members of the public present in San Francisco?
No questions. Thank you so much for your updates. And there are no members of the public here.
All right, Dr. Tice, any questions or comments? And is there anyone present in Fresno?
I don't have questions, and there's no one present in Fresno.
All right, wonderful. Dr. Mukherjee, any questions or comments? And is there anyone present in Vallejo?
No questions, no members of the public in Vallejo. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, we appreciate you. And Dr. Singleton, I'm sorry, where was your location again? Are you in Lafayette?
I'm in Lafayette, yes, and there are
Okay.
no public members present. I do not currently have any questions.
Wonderful. Okay, great. And in the El Dorado room, do you have any members of the public present? And any
There are
questions or
no
comments?
members of the, there are members of the public here, but there's no questions at this time. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. That's the sign of a good presentation. And then can we see if there are any public members online that have questions or comments?
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment for this item, please click that raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Great. All right, let's move on then to agenda item number 4, which is the review and possible approval of the October 8th, 2025 board meeting minutes. I hope everyone has had a chance to review that. Does anyone have anything they want to say about the board meeting minutes? Any edits or anything that they think was missing?
This is Dr. Mina Yoon. I was not at this meeting. However, under agenda item 4, for the vote that was made, the motion was Davidson, second Singleton, and then there was an abstention Singleton on the bottom.
Thank you.
I take it that wasn't an abstention. And that might have been me that was not there.
Let me see. Hold on a second.
No, that's correct. I seconded it, and then this is Dr. Singleton, and then I recalled that I wasn't present at the September meeting, so it should be an abstention.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Right. Correct.
Got it.
But I don't recall who seconded after me.
Yeah, Davidson did the motion and Singleton was the second on that. And that was perfectly fine. She can still abstain.
Okay, sure.
Okay, got it. I understand now.
Okay, any other questions or
any other?
comments on the board meeting minutes? Sorry. All right. So at this point, I would like to call for a motion. Do I have a motion to approve the board meeting minutes for October 8th, 2025?
Hi, this is Deparshi. I'll approve them.
So you're going to be the motion to approve? Okay, wonderful. Do we have a second?
And this is Payland Board Council that's want to check with the maker of the motion that's subject to the amendments or changes that were discussed earlier.
I don't think we had any amendments or changes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
There was a question, but we didn't actually change anything.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful.
we have
Is
a
there a
second?
second?
I can second that. This is Dr. Singleton.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second for the approval of the October 8th, 2025 meeting minutes as written. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? All right, so then we're going to go back through and find if there are any public members in your location. So I am going to call the locations out. There are no public members present in San Rafael. Dr. Yoon, is there anyone present in San Francisco?
No, there are no one's here.
Dr. Tice, is there anyone in Fresno?
There is no one here in Fresno.
Dr. Mukherjee, is there anyone in Vallejo?
None in Vallejo.
And Dr. Singleton, is there anyone in Lafayette?
No public members here. Thank you.
And El Dorado Room, do any of the public members present have any questions or comments about our board meeting minutes?
There are no public comments. Thank you.
All right. And then we should, excuse me, open the WebEx if there are any public members online.
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click that raised hand icon. Or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Wonderful. Okay, so then we can do a roll call vote to approve the meeting minutes. Rebecca?
Great. This is going to be for the motion to approve the 10-8 minutes as submitted. Dr. Dara Thompson,
Aye.
Dr. Mina Yoon,
Abstain?
okay. Okay, we can continue moving through this, but if there's an abstention, we are not going to have a quorum for this to move. So, or let me just check with our legal to make sure that it's the majority that is here and not the majority of the membership of the board.
It is the majority of those here. So if we have 3 of
Perfect.
5, that would be the motion would
Okay.
pass.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Dr. Barrett Singleton,
Aye.
Dr. Satara Tice,
Aye.
thank you, and Dr. Deparshu Mukherjee.
Aye.
Thank you. And that moves with 4.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so at this point, we are going to move on to agenda item number 5, which is the board consideration of updates to the administrative manual, review, discussion, and possible adoption. Is this you, Rebecca?
It is. Yes, it is. Great. Thank you so much. So I was able to make some changes to the administrative manual. It hadn't been updated for quite some time, I believe, since the last sunset review. And this was one of those items that needed to be updated and attached to our sunset review. So I took this time to update, make some amendments to it, mostly just board membership. There were a couple of changes to the way teleconferences are conducted. So I just made some general changes to the administrative manual, and I also provided some links so that it takes people from the table of contents to directly where they need to go in the manual. So just made some little formatting edits. If there are no questions or concerns about this, then we can make a motion to adopt this today, and we can attach this as an attachment to our sunset review. Were there any questions or concerns? And as a heads up, there was one issue on page 47 of your meeting material, which is page 28 of the administrative manual. There was a reference to committee member instead of board member. The last time this administrative manual was updated, we were still a committee. So I haven't made that change. It just did not happen before this went out to the members. And it's under the recuse.
So if we were to vote to approve, we'd be approving it with that edit.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right, I don't see any discussion from the board members. Do we have a motion to approve this new administrative manual?
This is Dr. Mina Yoon. I'll make a motion to move for the approval of this manual and the stated change.
Wonderful. Do we have a second?
I'll do the second. This is Deparshu.
Wonderful. So we have a motion to approve the new administrative manual with that one edit where we are edited the committee to board reference. And then is there any further discussion by members of the board? Okay.
I have a
Here-
quick question. This is Dr. Singleton. This is going to be included with the sunset or no?
Yes, it's an attachment for the sunset
That's what I thought.
report.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. I'm going to go through your locations to see if there are any members of the public present. There are no members of the public present in San Rafael. Dr. Yoon,
There are no members of the present.
no members of the public in San Francisco. Dr. Tice, how about you?
There's no members of the public here in Fresno.
Wonderful. Dr. Mukherjee,
No members of the public in Vallejo.
wonderful. And Dr. Singleton.
No public members in Lafayette.
All right. Do any of the public members in the El Dorado room have any questions or comments about the new administrative manual?
No, there's no public comments here.
Okay. And then, so moderator, can we open for public comment on WebEx?
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click that raised hand icon, or if you're an audio-only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Wonderful. So seeing no public comment, we'll close that and return for the roll call vote. Rebecca, would you like to conduct that?
Absolutely. So I'm taking the roll call to adopt the administrative manual with amendments. Dr. Dara Thompson,
Aye.
Dr. Mina Yoon,
Aye.
Dr. Vera Singleton,
Aye.
Dr. Satara Tice.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Aye.
Great, thank you. And that motion moves with 5.
All right, wonderful. So now we're going to be moving on to agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action on the executive officer's report. I'll turn that over to you, Rebecca.
Great, thank you so much. I put this in here as a placeholder with a very optimistic delusions, I guess, that I was going to be able to have time to get this done for you guys this time. Unfortunately, with the sunset review taking precedence, I had to table this for our next December meeting. So unfortunately, don't have anything to report today.
All right, then. So we'll move on to agenda item number 7, which is discussion and possible action on advisory committee meeting updates and recommendations. Are you going to go through all of these, Rebecca, or do we have different representatives from the different committees that are going to do that?
So it's up to, I can definitely give the report if the committee chairs would like to do so. That would be great. I can tell you that the minor office procedure advisory committee did not have anything. I think they pretty much got completed with their stuff during the last session that they had. Legislative advisory committee, we did not have time to get back together before this sunset package needed to be done. Naturopathic Drug Formulary Advisory Committee does have some updates, and so does the IV and Advanced Injection Therapy Advisory Committee. So it's definitely up to, I believe, Dr. Thompson, you for the IV and Advanced Injection Therapy, and Dr. Yoon for the Naturopathic Drug Formulary Advisory Committee.
All right, well, let's start with the Drug Formulary Advisory Committee since they're first on the list. Dr. Yoon, did you want to give that report?
Sure, no problem. So this past Monday, November 17th, Dr. Peter Koshland, a pharmacist, and Dr. Mukherjee and I, we met for our formulary board discussion. We have during this time created an exclusionary drug formulary as a possible legislative consideration. In our process of thinking, we have created drug classes in which we feel may be excluded from a potential formulary for naturopathic doctors. And so if you can see in the notes, the excluded drug classes includes chemotherapeutic agents, controlled substances scheduled 1 and 2, specific psychiatric medications, the antipsychotics and the mood stabilizers, the immunosuppressants, specific cardiovascular agents, the antiarrhythmics and the IV vasodilators, general anesthetics and neuromuscular blockers, and basically with discussion of the need for having the ability to prescribe as trained for the NDs and allowing them to be able to work within their scope of practice. And the exclusionary ones would be ones in which would not be included in a potential legislative consideration in the future.
So in an exclusionary formulary, it basically says you can prescribe everything except this, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this would be a formulary that we're proposing that naturopathic doctors would be able to prescribe absent of a supervisory relationship, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. What's the next step?
Rebecca, do you have that answer?
Sure. So let me just give you a little bit of background information. The legislative authority under Business and Professions Code 3627, the legislature directed the board to establish a naturopathic formulary advisory committee to determine the naturopathic formulary based upon a review of naturopathic medical education and training. The committee shall be composed of equal numbers of representatives from the clinical and academic settings of physicians and surgeons, pharmacists, and naturopathic doctors. The committee shall review the naturopathic education, training, and practice and make specific recommendations regarding the prescribing, ordering, and furnishing authority of the naturopathic doctor and required supervision and protocols for those functions. So with this exclusionary formulary, basically what the board would be asking and recommending based on this mandate that you guys are mandated to do, we would provide a report to the legislature, letting them know about the review of the education and training of the naturopathic doctors, who was on that committee, and basically how you guys came up with the determination to have this exclusionary formulary. So basically at this point, we would just write a report up and submit it to the legislature. And then it would be at that point up to the legislature whether they want to make any changes, or if they're going to say, okay, this is great, go find a, an author or something. So at this point, we would be submitting a report to the legislature.
Wonderful. Do we need to take any action on this? It says possible action in the.
Yes, so because the full board would have to approve this going forward, you guys do need to take a vote, roll call vote on this to determine whether you guys agree with this exclusionary formulary or if you wanted anything taken out, removed, added. So it's up to you guys to review this and decide whether you want to make this recommendation as a full board.
Can I ask Dr. Yoon, the exclusion of the mood stabilizers, what was the rationale behind that? That was a little bit surprising to me.
So I think with the mood stabilizers, there are definitely referrals that we can make for mood stabilizers that are have a lot more increased risk of contraindications, as well as just needing to refer out to somebody who specializes in the psychiatric field for this. I think we took out the benzos from this category, and again, within the primary care, felt like this was not part of the needed formulary for a naturopathic doctor.
Okay, so so benzodiazepines are still allowed or they are excluded?
Yeah, they're still allowed.
I see. Okay. So this would be, the Abilify, Lamictal, that sort of category of drug.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, I had a question as well.
Yes.
Oh, so I was wondering if in the past we've attempted to do this before and if there was pushback.
So I can definitely answer that for you, Dr. Tice. We have actually done this twice. There was a 2007 report to the legislature providing this information. There was also another one in 2015, I do believe, 2012 and 2015, somewhere in there. Another report that was submitted to the legislature, and unfortunately, there were a few things done at the time. I think the IV therapy was a result of some of that, but they never fully looked and provided the scope that matched the guidance and recommendations of those advisory committees. So we're kind of back at, we're doing exactly what they have asked us to do. They can or cannot take those recommendations, but we are doing what we are supposed to by law. So that's kind of where we are right now, Dr. Tice.
Also, to add on to that, these recommendations also came from looking at some of the drug formularies in other states. And some of these medications, if you have a supervising medical doctor, are within our purview at this point right now. And so it isn't much of I guess, a difference per se. It's just, again, as we move forward with hopefully scope modernization, this is what we would add on as a consideration.
And also, let me add that you guys can definitely make suggestions when that report is being written. And of course, this is just your guys' time to adopt this exclusionary or take these into consideration. But the report still needs to be written, and you guys would still have a chance to make any changes to the report before we submit that report. So you guys can actually take into consideration the fact that there are naturopathic doctors that are currently prescribing under that protocol. And if they've been doing it for so many years, then you think that those people are already okay to move forward with an unrestricted independent scope that matches this exclusionary formulary that they provided today. You can also make, recommendations to include for any new licensee that they have taken the elective pharmaceutical test through NPLEX. So there's certain things that you guys as a board can now do to say, okay, these are what they need to do, the criteria that they need to meet in order to have this independent scope. So there's different things that you guys can request. There's also things that may be to your advantage when working with the legislature to take into consideration. So I just wanted to let you know this isn't the only time that you guys have to make this and then it goes over to the legislature without you guys seeing it. You guys will see the report before it's submitted.
Well, I would say I definitely think an exclusionary formulary is the way to go. It's much easier to read and much easier to follow, to understand what you can't do rather than trying to figure out everything that you can. And I think that those exclusions make sense to me. I do think mandating the pharmacology portion of the boards would be a good idea. And we might have to also put some sort of a grandfather clause in for people who took their boards, 25 years ago and have been practicing safely. We don't necessarily want to make them go back and take them, but like for new licensees, that makes complete sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to add something like that right now, or if all we're doing is approving the exclusionary formulary as written. I think that sounds like a great idea. Okay, I don't see any other comments. And so at this point, this is Dr. Thompson, I would actually like to make a motion to accept the exclusionary formulary as written.
I have a quick question, Dr. Thompson.
Absolutely.
Dr. Singleton. Do we have a potential author for this? No.
No, we wouldn't even know if we would need an author before submitting this to the legislature.
I see.
And will this be included in our sunset report?
So there's bits and pieces about this in there, but because this wasn't approved before this sunset report was done, we would have some time later in the future to discuss these when like backgrounds and stuff come out. There's still plenty of time to advise the committees that this has been something that's just been adopted.
Okay, thank you. So given that information, I had made a motion, and then is there a second?
I can second that. This is Dr. Singleton.
Thank you. So we have a motion to approve the exclusionary formulary as written. As Rebecca stated, that would just be the first step in moving forward with this. Is there any further discussion by the board members? Okay, I don't see anything, so I'm just going to go down to your individual locations to see if there are any members of the public present there. If something comes up for you while we're going through that, just feel free to bring it up. There are no members of the public present in San Rafael. Dr. Yoon, anyone in San Francisco?
No members are here.
Wonderful. And Dr. Tice, are there any members in Fresno?
There are no members of the public here.
Dr. Mukherjee, are there any members in Vallejo?
No members of the public in Vallejo.
And Dr. Singleton, any members in Lafayette?
No public members here.
All right. Do any of the public members in the El Dorado room have a comment about this?
There are no comments in the El Dorado room.
Okay. So let's just open for public comment.
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click that raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and this is the moderator. Appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Okay, great. So seeing no public comment, let's do a roll call vote on that motion, Rebecca.
Great, thank you so much. We have the motion on the table to adopt the exclusionary formulary as submitted. Dr. Dara Thompson,
Aye.
Dr. Mina Yoon,
Aye.
Dr. Vera Singleton,
Aye.
Dr. Satara Tice.
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Aye.
Great, and that moves with 5. Thank you so much.
Great. And then we just have an informational update on the intravenous and advanced injection therapy advisory committee. I am the chair, but Rebecca is going to give that update. She and I and Dr. Virginia Osborne were present with legal counsel to discuss this about a week and a half ago.
I will go ahead and provide that update. So the IV and Advanced Injection Therapy Advisory Committee convened on November 10th, 2025 to begin the process of developing regulatory language for intravenous therapy as authorized under Senate Bill 1446. This meeting marked an important step in establishing the regulatory framework, and it reflects both the statutory authority and clinical realities of naturopathic practice. The meeting summary from November 10th. During this meeting, the committee engaged in a detailed discussion with the regulations legal counsel to review the scope and authority granted under SB 1446, which permits naturopathic doctors to perform IV therapy within defined parameters. It also established a regulatory development framework appropriate for this package of this size and complexity. And we also identified key components and considerations for drafting regulatory text, including training standards, safety protocols, and clinical oversight. This foundational discussion provided clarity on the legal and procedural steps required to move forward with a comprehensive and compliant regulatory package. The next steps for the committee will to be reconvened on December 12th to continue its work. The next meeting will focus on drafting initial regulatory language using the framework discussed with legal counsel, reviewing comparable regulatory models from other jurisdictions and professions, and outlining a timeline for stakeholder engagement and public comment. The committee remains committed to developing clear, enforceable, and evidence-informed regulations that ensure public safety while supporting the safe integration of IV therapy into naturopathic. Again, the legislative authority was established by SB 1446, I believe back in 2012. The California Board of Naturopathic Medicine has the authority to adopt regulations governing the practice of IV therapy by licensed naturopathic doctors. And the committee's work is being conducted in alignment with its legislative mandate. The committee remains vigilant in ensuring the board keeps consumer protection paramount. It also recognizes the importance of having clearly defined regulations that provide guidance and accountability for licensees. This dual focus will help ensure both public safety and professional clarity as IV therapy becomes more integrated into naturopathic medical practices. That is at the presentation and update. Are there any questions?
I just had one comment as the chair of this committee, that part of the reason this has been a more long and complicated, just to remind the board members, more long and complicated process is that the IV therapy and injection committee started with a specific purpose in response to questions to clarify our regulations from kind of a local public authority. And then in the process of that, our legal advisors realized that there were parts of the original licensure for IV therapy that needed to be modernized, similar to other parts of our law. You know, our law is very young. So that when we got the authority for IV therapy, there were certain areas that were supposed to be modernized and updated that hadn't been modernized and updated yet. So there have been several layers of this in just trying to meet both of those requirements. You know, getting the newer safety regulations done, updating the actual anything that needs to be updated in the actual like law about IV therapy. I'm sorry, there's another word I was searching for. And then also we had the stumbling block of not having the authority to update our continuing education, which hopefully will be resolved with this sunset. So those are kind of the layers that we're working with here, just to let people know why it's taking a little while. So that's all.
This is Dr. Yoon. Just a question regarding the change in regulation. So I understand now that and thankfully that legal counsel is helping with the new language. But I think the question that I have is, does this also, passing regs, does this also entail a legislative bill? No. Okay.
Well, let me take that back. So there are parts of this that we will need legislative changes or fixes in order to do what the committee thinks is reasonable and needed. So one of those was the recertification of the IV therapy specialty certification. So that was one of them, and to add that CE included in somewhere in there if you have an IV therapy specialty. However, we don't have the authority to do that. So that would need to be changed before they can adopt that into regulations. However, right now, the only thing that we're focusing on is the regulatory change. So basically, how the IV therapy should be done, safe practices, so that type of thing, the infection control. So those things are done in a regulation change. Everything else is going to have to be asked for legislatively. That is why that we have put some of this stuff in the sunset to let the legislature know that there are some issues with the IV therapy that we would like to correct. And so hopefully they will allow that during the sunset. If not, then we will have to find an author to get that changed. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. And one more question regarding having worked on the drug formulary committee, are there also is how do I put this? Because when I was working on the drug formulary committee as well, I've been thinking about potential things that may be necessary or needed for IV therapy and injection therapy. Is that also something that you are considering in your committee?
So yes, the what naturopathic doctors are allowed to administer intravenously is already
Yes.
detailed.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't think is something that actually does need to be clarified, although all the language is being sort of fleshed out and clarified. But right now, the IV therapy allows doctors to administer any drugs that they are able to, that they're legally able to administer. So right now, you need, if for certain medications, to be given intravenously or intramuscularly or sub-Q, et cetera, you would need a supervisory agreement. If our scope was updated, you'd no longer need that supervisory agreement, but that's not specifically detailed in the IV therapy regulations. And one of the things that is also challenging in writing this kind of a regulation is to not put wording in it which would block something in the future should the laws change. So that's another thing we're struggling with the wording, is being specific enough, but not being so specific that we need to be able to refer to things and say, and you need to follow these rules as they grow and change. So that's another thing that has been challenging from a wording standpoint, as legal seems to really want things to be specific, and we do too, but only to the point where it isn't going to paint us into a box if other laws change around us. So one of the things we're working on.
Thank you. Thank you for your clarifications.
Yeah, this is a really, really complex regulatory package. It's really intensive, time intensive. And so the committee's been doing their best, and we just kind of have these things that are changing and developing as we move forward. So we're doing our best to keep up with everything, but I think we've gotten some really good advice and recommendations from our legal counsel that have kind of put us back on track of where we need to be with this package. And again, we had the, folks from the FDA and the Department of Justice's oh gosh, why can't I think of the name of it right now? DEA, that was really looking at us as this framework is developed. And so this is something that's really needed here in California. I think other professions kind of need to jump on this as well with all of the issues that are kind of arising around the, hydration bars and stuff like that. So I think the board and the committee is doing a really great job at getting this done.
Right. And then the other, the other issue that we're dealing with is I've been working on this as the board, as the committee chair for several years, and my term ends in January. So we're finalized, or at least, get it as ready as possible. Just to be clear, I'm not planning to leave until after sunset if the governor approves that extension. Right. We do have to call for comment here, but I don't think there's any motion. So I'm just going to go around to the different locations, see if there's any members of the public present. Dr. Yoon, is there anyone in San Francisco?
No, there are no members of the public here.
There is no one in San Rafael. Dr. Tice in Fresno?
There are no members of the public here in Fresno.
Dr. Mukherjee?
None in Vallejo.
And Dr. Singleton?
No public members in Lafayette.
Wonderful. And do any of the public members in the El Dorado room have any questions or comments?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, great. So what I would like to do at this, first thing I would like to do is open for public comment on the web.
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click the raised hand icon, or if you're an audio-only participant, you can press *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Wonderful, thank you. So what I'd like to do at this point is have everyone take a quick bathroom break. I know that we didn't get started until about 10:40, but most of us have been here since 9:30. This is really our biggest and last agenda item. So I think we should take a 10-minute break for everyone to go to the bathroom and then come back and see if we can finish this before we need to break for lunch. Of course, we're going to be as comprehensive and complete as we need to be. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So at this point, we're moving on to our agenda item number 8, which is our biggest agenda item. And this is the discussion and possible action on the 2026 Sunset Review. Rebecca, I just want to clarify that if we approve the Sunset report now, it will go for publication, and then they're going to bring it back to us in December. And that's basically for us. We're not going to be able to edit the report after that. That would just be to check like the colors and stuff to make sure we like the way it looks.
Yes, I was told that that wasn't needed, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were happy with the final product before it was moved along. So I put this December 3rd meeting together. And also just in case it wasn't approved today, we wanted another date that it could get done. So
Yeah.
that was the reason behind that. So
Okay.
if it gets approved today,
So
we're good.
Yeah, so today we go through it. This is like, if we approve it today, this is what is going to, the Senate and such, and et cetera. Yes. Yep. Okay. Great.
Exactly.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm going to let you talk about this report that you have been working tirelessly on.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So really, every time we have a sunset review, the report takes the longest time to complete, and it's pretty comprehensive. So I wanted to make sure that I captured everything that the board has brought up in prior meetings, things that we have discussed in the past, issues that have come up, and then of course to answer to and provide an update to the legislature for all of the issues that we had in prior sunsets that we wanted just to give them an update on. So that's all in here. If you noticed that the text that was in green, we have already went through that. You guys have approved that language in prior meetings. This time around, we were looking at the blue text that it was all new and added since the October 10th meeting. And then the text that was in purple was just items that needed to be reviewed by our regulatory council. That was done. I am taking the amendments that they had provided. It was just some kind of contextual stuff and some formatting. So, and then there was a reference to the CCR, and it was the Business and Professions Code instead of regulations. And I was just tired by that time. I think I just kind of glossed over it. So thank you to our regulatory council, DP, for catching that for us and for making those edits. Those will be made and put into this report as well. Moving forward, did anybody, looking at the blue text, did anybody have any issues or questions about the information that was discussed in here?
I'm sorry, Rebecca, could you tell us what page we're on in the larger meeting materials packet?
Absolutely. So the meeting material, page 78, is where your sunset report starts. I can say that for section 1 on page 78, we had already approved in the green section some information about the history and the regulated profession. I had added some information to it as well, and then Bruce Davidson and Dr. Satara Tice was on the advisory committee, just kind of looking at the data, making sure that the data and the narratives matched each other. They also kind of went through it and added anything or made amendments to things that they seen that were kind of glaring. And I just wanted to really point to, I believe it was on page 79 under the historical context for the naturopathic profession. And Dr. Bruce Davidson had actually added some information in here, and I highlighted it, I bolded that information in blue, but basically he just wanted to add that in following the issuance of the Flexner report in 1910, the profession recovered by adopting key aspects of the biomedical education model, including standardized science-based curricula, accreditation, and higher admission requirements, while integrating them with its traditional healing principles. In this way, modern naturopathic medical practice was born and experienced a resurgence by the 1970s. So I just wanted to let you know that he really thought that this was important for the legislature and the committee and anybody else that's looking at this to know kind of what happened when the naturopathic medicine kind of took that turn from traditional, what traditional naturopathy is today to what naturopathic medicine is. And I thought that that was a really good add-on. So I wanted to just call that out and give him a kudos. I know he's not here today, but I thought that was really a great addition. And then there was just some other.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
I think
you're
that's
fine.
such an important addition because the way it was written before, it does talk a lot about the history of naturopathy and, you know, all of its traditional roots, and that's great, but then it doesn't support our intensive scientific education. I mean, in the educational section it does, but it's nice to have that in historical context and how long that's been a part of the profession.
Correct. Yeah, I really thought that was really great. And I don't know why I didn't think of it, but it was really a great addition. So again, thank you, Dr. Davidson, for that. And then just kind of moving through the rest of the report, I mean, there's just not a lot that I can call out except that, we made sure that the narratives matched all of the data sets that were provided. I'm trying to think of anything glaring. If we go to page, there was a question from Dr. Satara Tice during their review of this sunset about cost recovery, and that we had stated previously in a report that we have not been able to get cost recovery, and why hadn't we been able to do so? And then that there was on page 127, number 36, we talk about cost recovery as a key tool used during settlements. So basically, the difference between those two items is that one is what cost recovery in general is used for, and what normally boards are able to do. And then kind of where we have an issue with the two cases that did get cost recovery for us, where we weren't able to collect those because these people have lost their license, and there's just, our thing is if they come back, they have to pay this cost recovery. And so it's a tool, it's a mechanism. If they do not reapply, then we can go to the Franchise Tax Board and start collecting this money. But I think that we do have one of these licensees or prior licensees that is going to be wanting to come back. So we may be able to get cost recovery there. But even with the cost recovery methods through the Franchise Tax Board and other collection agencies, it will be hard to collect when there's nothing that is tangible that correlates that need to pay back, right? So they don't have a license on the line, they may not pay it back. And that's the case with other boards and bureaus, that they have issues collecting cost recovery, unless that there's something behind it. So that was the question, the answer to that, Dr. Tice. I know that you had asked about that, and I just wanted to clarify that. And that's the reason that there's a difference between those two sections. One is actually what it's used for, and the other is kind of what our case is here at the board. And then moving forward, I'm sorry, I'm going through my book, so I don't have my table of contents right in front of me. Under workforce development, basically, we just kind of described some of the factors on, any kind of licensing delays, which we don't have any, so we answered back about that. And this is going to be page 141 in case anybody was following along. Section 7 in the workforce development and job creation. We did speak, I believe, about the reasons that we're having barriers for licensure or employment that the board believes exists. And basically here we described a scope of practice limitations, not being able to practice as trained, the under recognition of the safety and efficacy of naturopathic doctors and naturopathic medicine, and the financial burden of the education. Basically naturopathic doctors or naturopathic students coming out of school are, have 200,000 plus in medical education debt. And the employment opportunities are extremely limited here in California because they can't practice to the full extent of their education where they can in other states that are neighboring to us, like Oregon and Washington. So those are items that were discussed here. The public and profession awareness, basically the difference between the unlicensed and the licensed naturopathic doctors, geographic and economic, and then the inconsistent recognition across the system. So I'm not sure if any of the naturopathic doctors that are on our board have dealt with any of this, but right now we're having some extreme difficulties with pharmacies filling orders of naturopathic doctors, especially for the GLP-1s, which is specifically outlined in your guys's statute as independent. But we've been having some issues with Eli Lilly, and there's been a couple of other actual pharmaceuticals that have been pushing back against us because they're not located here in California, and the state that they're located in is not recognized as a state that licenses naturopathic doctors. So there's that disconnect between where the manufacturer of the pharmaceutical is and where the doctor is prescribing out of. And so again, it's that inconsistent recognition. So we put all of this information in here. I thought that was very important to outline those issues, and then workforce shortages. We just kind of gave all of the information about this, successful training programs. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if I've missed anything. I think that's pretty much it. And I think I may have mentioned the, sorry, I'm trying to think where I've put that naturopathic doctors make up 86 or 87% of the workforce in the underserved areas and populations, and that we make up 75% of our licensed population is female. And so those items are called out, and I can't remember if it was here or if it was in the current issues, but those were also outlined in this report. Under the current issues on page 145, section 8, we just kind of outlined some of the current issues that the naturopathic committee is having. The board has been a leader in adopting online services, and basically they were asking about, in this current issues, is to describe how the board is participating in development of online applications and payment capability, and any other secondary IT issues affecting the board. I don't know if this must be an issue. Usually the committees will ask for things that are that they see as an issue on their side. So other boards may be having this issue. The response for us is that the board has been a leader in adopting online services through the Breeze system. As one of the first programs to implement Breeze, the board successfully transitioned all of its licensing applications to the platform during the first phase of implementation. This early adoption has allowed the board to provide a fully online application and payment experience for both applicants and licensees. Since implementation, the board has worked closely with the Department of Consumer Affairs to make enhancements and system changes that have improved the speed, accuracy, and efficiency of services. These improvements have significantly reduced staff data entry errors and streamlined process across both licensing and enforcement functions. The board continues to monitor and assess its IT needs in collaboration with DCA. While Breeze has met many of the board's operational requirements, one current limitation is the system's inability to track continuing education for auditing purposes. The board is exploring potential solutions to address this gap and remains committed to ensuring that its IT systems support effective oversight and service delivery. And basically, this is one of those things that we're asking about the to use a third-party tracking CE tracker to do this for us, since the ability to do so within Breeze is extremely limited. And because we have a mandate to audit, we need to make sure that we can do that in the most efficient way. So that I added that into this report as well. I'm going to stop here just for a second to make sure that I'm not glossing over and nobody has any questions so far.
I have a couple questions for you, Rebecca. First of all, with what you were just talking about, put my video on. What you were just talking about with the CE provider, I'm sorry, the CE tracking provider, is that something where if we got it approved in sunset, we could add that, or is that something that would have to happen? You're just mentioning it, but we would have to do it separately.
Yeah, if the committees both think that this is something that is needed and that they can fix very easily in the sunset language, they will put it in. If they think that something's too contentious, then they won't, but they will maybe make a recommendation or a suggestion to us, and that's usually where that background and stuff comes in. I believe I can check with the public member that is in the audience today. We have Yvonne Lamar, who is here from Senate BMP committee. So she is here if any of the members have any questions or we need some clarification. She may be the best person to ask.
Wonderful. Because it does seem like it would just, it not only would it help the auditing process, but it would help the naturopathic doctors keep track of their CE, which as a licensed naturopathic doctor is an ongoing thorn in my side. Yeah. I also wanted to go back to page 144 in this section where there's comments to the side as if they aren't fully incorporated into the text yet. I wanted to ask you what the status of that is.
So I incorporated it in other areas, it
Okay.
just flowed better. So I did incorporate, there is somewhere in this report that says the underserved area is 86%.
Right,
It also has that the workforce is made up of 75% women.
Yeah, the 75% women is on that page, but the underserved communities isn't right there. So I just was checking on that. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Those were my questions. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? How impressed are we with Rebecca?
We are very impressed. Very, very impressed. I have a couple of questions, and I'm sorry about my questions too, because I know I missed our last meeting, and so the things in green are a little bit newer information as well when I reviewed this. Can I go back for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yeah, on page, I think 30 for the sunset report and like 107 for the meeting materials. They have like the numbers of the national examination, and for the year 2024 to 2025, the number of candidates went up to 984. Whereas the previous years were like 133, 425, 248, and then it suddenly goes up to 984. And I was kind of curious about this.
Yeah, absolutely. I can double check that number, but we get that straight from NPLEX. NAMNE sends those to us after each one of their exams. And then they send us one annually that kind of makes up all of them. So we actually get this information from there, but I will just make sure that I did not fat finger and have a typo here. I will double check that 984, but I do believe that that is correct.
Okay, I'm just a little surprised because 2020 was a pandemic. So I'm like thinking, wow, why all of a sudden a huge spike in the numbers, which would be great. But yeah, I was a little surprised by that. And then let's see, I have two more things that I have a comment on, and I did not organize this very well, but let me see.
I do wonder if the surge in exams is a post-COVID thing, but yeah, totally check the numbers. I think that's a great idea, but I wonder if there was some sort of delay in people taking the exam because of COVID.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I don't know if it was available online back then too, like if they suddenly did offer it online. And yeah, I'm so old, so I don't know.
Of course, no problem. And I've heard that they are actually making it to where it's now online, and there's like hundreds of locations they're going to take the exam now instead of just a couple that are in Oregon and California and wherever. So there are some changes to that coming up, but I will definitely check that 984 number, and I will make that change if needed.
Great, thank you. My next question is section 4, the enforcement program. Under number 31, there's two places in the
What
green.
page?
It's
What
section
page you mean?
119, page 42, I guess, of the.
Okay, and I'm sorry, which question?
Yeah, so under 31, under both intake and the formal discipline, there's two places that have XX days or XX formal disciplinary actions.
Okay, I thought that I made this change before it went out to you guys, but maybe I made it afterwards. So is this where it says the highest average cycle time and the lowest average cycle time?
Yeah, but above it says, so I'm actually reading the green part, catching up, as the board met this target with an average of XX days during the reporting period.
Oh, yes. Okay, I will make that change. Basically, I just have to take the time
Yeah.
from below and move it up above. So yeah, I
And then
will.
there's another one
change as
below.
well.
Yeah. Under formal discipline, over the past 3 fiscal years, the board has issued XX formal disciplinary actions.
Perfect. I will do that. So that should be 2. I already know that one. And then the above one, I will make sure that I have the correct number there for the average days during the
Great.
reporting period.
Great. And then,
And I'm just making notes of these as we go down. So give me 1 second to make note of this. Okay, go ahead.
so then, sorry, I tell me if I'm hogging up the time. I have
No,
a
you're
little
fine.
bit of a, when I'm looking at some of the enforcement statistics, I'm a little bit overwhelmed because I feel like I'm a little bit confused about what is our licensees versus what is our unlicensed activity.
Mhm.
And so I'm not exactly sure how to parse this out because, I read the text and I totally understand a good portion of it is the unlicensees. And then, I can see the statistics, but I feel like when I look at the overall enforcement statistics, like the numbers kind of shock me in the beginning before I kind of understand a little bit more. Do we have any data that kind of splits out the unlicensees versus the licensee activity?
So currently the report does not ask for it, so we don't
Yeah.
include that in here. We would have to manually break that down in the report. So we don't have a report that just does unlicensed activity in Breeze right now, because I don't think that unlicensed activity is as big of an issue with other boards as it is with us. I know like places like CSLB, which is the Contractor State Licensing Board, they have a lot of unlicensed activity issues. We do, but I don't know that other boards have that big issue. So a report has never been developed that breaks these down, but we can manually go in and use Excel spreadsheets and actually break those down, which is what we do when we provide those numbers to you guys during our enforcement reports, during our board meetings. It just wasn't broke down in here because it wasn't asked for.
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, I totally understand that. And I guess there's a lot in the numbers, right? Unless you actually read. And so if somebody's just looking at the table, just to make it clear that it is both licensees and unlicensed practitioners.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. The good thing is the legislature who wrote this, they know what they're looking at. So that's why it was really important for us to have that second and third set of eyes with Dr. Tice and Dr. Davidson to make sure that the data that has been provided is kind of meshing with that narrative that we've outlined. So
Yeah. Perfect. And then there's just 2
appreciate the
other
question.
just very, very small minor things that I saw.
Okay.
There's 2 I think corrections. Page 124. The last sentence on that page, there's a comma, therefore. And I've been reading this 1,000 times going, does that make sense?
I'm sorry, where are we in number 34?
No, yeah, number 34, the last word is therefore.
Oh. I think therefore was not supposed to be there. I'm not sure if there was something there before, but that should be taken out. So thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
There should be a period after a medical reason.
Exactly. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if there was
Yep.
supposed to be another statement that was there and it was taken out, and the therefore was just like a leftover.
Yeah,
then,
it was just leftover. I think I must have changed it.
Okay. And then there's just one last thing, and it's also a typo of the word of, and it was on one of the addendums.
What page are we on?
I don't know. Sorry. I took notes and I never took notes of the pages, so I'm just scrolling to see where I did make oh, okay. This is on page 187, the survey summary.
Oh, okay. You can give it to me now, and then it's because this is just the summary of
Sorry.
the survey that we took, but we'll take it right now. Go ahead. And
Okay.
which page is that on 187?
187, key findings. One of the bullets says belief that California regulatory environment would support full use of naturopathic treating,
Yep.
and of is OFD.
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay. That's it for me.
Fat finger. Thank you. Okay, so let me put that in here really quick. 7. Okay, perfect. I made note of that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Amazing job. A lot of work.
Thank you.
Okay, that was so helpful. Rebecca, do you have other areas that you wanted to call to our attention? And also, do any of the other board members have specific questions about areas of the report? I know, Dr. Tice, you already went through this with a fine-tooth comb. Rebecca, were there other areas of the report that you wanted to talk about?
Yes, so basically section 9 with the board action responses to prior sunset issues, just again, to reiterate, the only thing that we did here was I added the responses to kind of update the committee of these older issues. The member terms, this was a big one for issue number 3. So I, really called out that we are probably one of the only boards that don't have a staggered appointment schedule, and that really makes it difficult when we have 5 people that are coming off of our member at the same time, our board at the same time. So to kind of outline some of these issues here, that we strongly recommend implementing a staggered term structure for future appointments. This would promote greater stability, ensure consistent leadership, and support the board's long-term strategic and operational goals. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that there. I know this was an issue, and now that we have several of you that are being terming out at the first of the year, we want to make sure that this is something that's on their radar. Let's see here. There were a couple of the current responses that I put. I'm sorry, is somebody asking something?
Sorry, Rebecca, this is Dr. Yoon. Just wanted to ask you a question on that segment as well.
Sure.
In the beginning of that segment regarding the board, there was initially, it said that the advisory council was supposed to be, oh, okay, wait. So maybe I'm not clear about this, but it said the act additionally required the DCA to establish an advisory council consisting of 3 NDs, 3 physicians and surgeons, and 3 public members. This was in the background for issue number 1. And was that advisory committee? That's not our committee currently, is that?
No, I believe that was when they first were enacted. I'm just trying to find where you are right now. Give me a second.
All right,
Is this the name and placement? Is this issue number 1, name and placement of the committee?
Issue number 1, yes. In the background, it's at the
yeah. So
yeah.
Yeah, that was just the background, and basically that was the background is usually written by the committees, the sunset committees. And so basically that was kind of what they wrote to us, and we had to answer back during the last sunset. So any information that's in there was just gathered from historical information that they have.
Okay, so that advisory committee was even prior to having the board or committee.
That correct?
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Thank you so much. I think you're muted, Rebecca. Rebecca, I think you're.
Rebecca, we can't hear you. Rebecca, can you hear us?
This is the moderator. I've sent a message to Rebecca and hopefully she sees it.
Interesting that we can't hear her and she can't hear us.
Yeah.
Wait, can she see the video? We can't hear you.
I'm gonna text her.
This is the moderator. Let me message her and see if we can troubleshoot the audio.
Okay.
All right, this is the moderator. It looks like we're going to try and troubleshoot the audio issues for the El Dorado room. So in the meantime, please sit tight until we can get that sorted out. Thank you.
Connect us through that, and that's why we had to use the other hubs. And
Can you hear us in the El Dorado room?
This is the moderator.
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes.
great.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Good thing we have people that are tech savvy in our room that can help out here. So thank you so much for standing by for a moment while we got that fixed. Okay, so basically what I was reporting on there were 2 items in this previous issues section where the current response says to please see the board's current response under section 10, which are new issues. Although this isn't a new issue, it is a continuing issue that we have, and so we wanted to make sure that we brought this back to the attention. And one of those items was the fictitious name permit issue, where the committees specifically asked us to bring back what we think we need to do to have this program and why we think that the need still exists. So we did that. And if you go to section 10, which is in, let me see, hold on a second. Section 10 starts on page 172 of the meeting material, page 95 of the actual report. So number one, the current issues, the fictitious name permits. I added, there was a recommended or a suggestion from one of the board members during the last meeting to add if there were any other boards that already had the fictitious name program in place. And so I added on page 173 at the very end of this issue, it says, in support of the request, the board notes that both the Medical Board of California and the Osteopathic Medical Board of California operate successful fictitious name permit programs. These programs are supported by minimal fees that cover the cost of processing applications and have proven effective in enhancing consumer protection and regulatory clarity. The board strongly urges the legislators to enact statutory changes that would authorize the establishment of a similar FNP program for naturopathic doctors. This small but impactful regulatory tool would significantly contribute to consumer protection, regulatory enforcement, and the overall integrity of the naturopathic healthcare profession in California. The recommended solution is the board recommends authorization to issue fictitious name permits, establish an application fee to cover processing costs, implement a renewal fee to maintain fiscal neutrality, and enforce compliance with permitted fictitious name usage. And I just want to kind of state again that the reason for this is we've been seeing a lot of unlicensable naturopaths that are using very medical terms in their practices, if you will. We also see different naturopathic doctors that are using names that don't incorporate the naturopathic medicine in their naming convention. And some of these are corporations where they must use naturopathic medicine or a naturopathic doctor in that naming convention. So this would definitely assist us. It would also assist when there are several doctors in one clinic or one setting, a clinical setting that has a fictitious name where a patient goes in, sees somebody, has a complaint, but doesn't know the doctor or whatever the case may be, but it helps us with enforcement actions as well. So this was added here. For issue number 2, the additional title protections. Of course, this isn't anything new. This is an issue that we've been having. This was something that the Sunset Committee had asked for us to bring back to them again this time around. So we are. And basically, we're just kind of, stating that our position on this is that it is more of a benefit for the consumer protection than it is for the professional alignment of these traditional naturopaths with a term that they can use. So, I think the consumer protection outweighs, their wanting to use the term naturopath or naturopathic. Page 175 is issue number 3, which is to remove practices trained barriers. This was a big issue. This is one of the main reasons that we are losing so many licensees to neighboring states is because of the scope of practice. And as we move forward in this agenda item, and we discussed the survey that was taken for this for the Sunset Review, you'll see that that was one of the biggest issues is that naturopathic doctors, especially coming here to go to Bastyr, or they stay afterwards and want to set up in sunny California, that they are leaving because of the restrictive scope of nature. So that was very important that we added that here as well. Page 176, issue number 4, the lack of statutory authority to change a fee for continuing education course review and approval. The reason that the board currently does not review and approve CE providers is we just don't have the staffing to do so. We, unlike other boards, don't have the authority to collect a fee for this service, and it is very time intensive. And so we want to make sure that if we are providing a service, that we are getting the fee to cover the workload to do that service. And so this is something that we're asking for, that I think it was just kind of a, nobody thought about it when the act was first developed back in 2005. So we're just kind of asking for this to be clarified now. We also, on page 177 for the same issue, have provided 3 of the boards that are currently using this and that have that ability within their statute, which is Board of Registered Nursing, Dental Board of California, and the California Board of Chiropractic Examiners. Any questions? I'm just going to stop for a really brief second to make sure that there's no questions or comments. Okay, seeing none, I will continue moving forward. Page 178, issue number 5 is the recognition of naturopathic doctors in disability and public health documentation. This was very important that we provide this information. I don't know that the committee would be able to do anything about this because it has to do with the labor code section 3209.3. But basically, the issue is that the board's seeking statutory amendments to ensure that licensed naturopathic doctors are appropriately recognized as authorized healthcare providers for the purpose of completing disability-related and public health documentation. Despite being licensed primary care providers under California law, naturopathic doctors are currently excluded from key statutes that allow other licensed healthcare professionals to complete forms for workers' compensation, disability insurance, maternity leave, and DMV disability placards. This exclusion creates unnecessary barriers for patients, increased healthcare costs, and undermines the continuity of care. The background under Business and Professions Code section 3641, licensed naturopathic doctors are authorized and required to document their observations, diagnoses, and summaries of treatment in recording of patient examinations. The statute further grants NDs the same authority and responsibility as licensed physicians and surgeons with respect to public health laws, including the performance of health and physical examinations consistent with their education and training. Despite this clear statutory authority, NDs are not currently included in Labor Code 3209.3, which defines the healthcare provider authority to certify patients of workers for workers' compensation and disability insurance benefits. This section includes physicians and surgeons, psychologists, acupuncturists, optometrists, dentists, podiatrists, and chiropractors, but not naturopathic doctors. As a result, patients under the care of NDs must seek out another provider solely to complete required documentation, even when their ND is the primary care provider managing their condition. This issue also extends to other areas of patient care, such as completion of disability placard forms, and for the Department of Motor Vehicles, NDs are currently not authorized to complete these forms despite being fully qualified to assess and document the relevant medical conditions. This limitation disrupts continuity of care, delays access to services, and places an unnecessary burden on both patients and providers. The exclusion of NDs from these statutory provisions is inconsistent with their recognized roles as primary care providers and contradicts the intent of BPC 3641. It also creates inequities in the healthcare system and limits the abilities of ND to fully service their patients. So basically, we're recommending a solution to update 3209.3 of the Labor Code to include licensed naturopathic doctors among the list of authorized healthcare providers. Once that's done, we've had conversations with the Department of Motor Vehicles and ADD in the past that they will update their forms if it needs to be updated. But I think with just the change of the 3209.3, it'll keep them under that directive of the qualified practitioners that are allowed to sign off on these things. So that was a really big one that you guys wanted to add and that we did add there. Another one on page 179 was issue number 6, the fiscal imbalance and the need to raise statutory fee caps. Basically, we're kind of outlining the reasoning why we have this kind of structural imbalance in our fund. We are, expending more than we're bringing in right now due to the very small population size. And again, a lot of this is because of the restrictive scope here, and that the ability to work to the full extent of the education and training. The rising cost of doing business. So of course, the pro rata statewide and with Department of Consumer Affairs have went up a lot in the last several years. Unfortunately, that goes up, but our revenue does not. And so that right there, with a board or program that's this small, with a budget that's as small as ours, it really makes a big difference when we have a significant increase in our expenditures and we don't have the same increase in our revenue. We have currently set all of our fees to the statutory caps. We don't have anywhere else to increase those fees to. So right now, we're not asking the legislature to increase the fees. What we are asking them to do is to increase those statutory caps in our statute. So instead of the license application being, $600, it might be $700 or whatever. So they're going to make those changes if they see that this is a reasonable request. But basically this is needed or we don't exist. So hopefully they will provide that for us. On page 180, we have issue number 7, which is the board's authority to direct continuing education requirements. And this is kind of where we speak to the establishment of specific subject matter requirements for continuing education, to mandate CE in specialty areas such as IV therapy, pharmacology, and public health. This kind of also includes the opioid CE that you guys would need if you are renewing your DEA registration. That's not mandated within our CE statute currently, but we have a lot of licensees that come back and say, hey, I was trying to renew my DEA registration and saying I have to have this type of CE. And so we just want to make sure that we have the ability to clarify and make those changes in regulations as these changes, develop in the, CE and the clinical areas. So we included that, and basically that was the last thing that we included there. So are there any questions about the new issues that we've provided in the sunset report?
Hi, Rebecca.
I think you're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
I have a little concern about the second paragraph under background in the CE section.
What page?
This is on page 180.
Okay.
Where you say one area of particular concern is intravenous therapy. I agree with everything you said there as someone who's been very strongly involved in this whole process, but I just don't know if we need to go into that much detail. I feel like in the context of the sunset, it calls in question whether our IV therapy providers are adequately trained. And we know from the FDA boards, committees and things, and all the discussions we've had with other practitioners, that NDs in California are exceptionally well trained, far above many other IV providers. And so I absolutely understand what you're saying here, and I don't disagree with any of it, but I feel like we can get our point across without going into so much detail about what we aren't being allowed to do with our practitioners around IV therapy specifically. Because I feel like the issue of not being able to change our continuing education requirements goes far beyond that. It's just, we really need to be able to change our continuing education requirements as things change and grow. in the landscape of healthcare. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely it does. The only, and let me tell you my rationale behind
Mhm.
placing this in here is because of the issues that we're having with the regulatory text right now, and that your guys' ability to make changes to those CE requirements or the recertification requirements. So I wanted somewhere in this report kind of call that out so that they recognize where some of the issue lies. I can definitely take this out of this place here, but I think that maybe it would need to be placed somewhere else, maybe under the IV therapy issue. We could take it out now, but it may be something that comes up and we have to answer to it later on. And I'm fine with doing whatever the board would like me to do.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like either moving it or just modifying it. Like, can I just read through this and
Sure.
see? So one area of particular concern is intravenous therapy, a specialty practice that requires additional training and carries increased clinical risk. That section where you say requires additional training, I mean, does it require additional training? We would like people to have additional training. We think it would be safer. I think saying that it requires additional training and saying that we don't currently ask our practitioners to have that additional training because we're not able to is where we put ourselves in an area of like seeming like we're not doing enough. Whereas we're doing, I mean, I'm a stickler and I want people to have lots and lots of training, but we're doing so much more than so many other professions.
Right. And so let me speak to that. So we actually do require additional training for people that want that IV therapy scope within their license, right? So if somebody comes to us and says, hey, I want an IV therapy certification, and they don't have that additional training in IV therapy, they don't get that specialty in their scope. So it is an additional requirement for education for IV therapy. So that's kind of one reason we called it out here. But we don't have the ability to request continuing education for it or recertification for it.
Right. Like, what if we change the wording just a little bit? So instead of although licensees, you'd say something like currently licensees must complete initial training above and beyond their licensure to obtain IV certification. And we could say something like, and the board keeps meticulous records of this, and it is designated on their license, because like we can call out everything we are doing. However, we don't, I just feel like you've done so much work here, Rebecca, and I don't want to be critical in any way, but I just feel like the wording could be just slightly different to call into, the reading of this, just everything we are already doing. Like our licensees have to have 25 additional hours of training beyond their medical training in order to even be allowed to do IVs. We post that on their licenses, and you can look it up on Breeze, so you know if someone's actually been trained properly. Like, we're doing a lot of stuff here. That's all I'm saying.
Sure. So I absolutely can remove this if you don't think that it is needed here. I can absolutely remove it, and it's not going to hurt my feelings at all. No matter what you guys do to this report, it's not going to hurt my feelings. So please.
Well, what do the other board members think? I mean, do you think it's good as is? Do you think we should remove it? Do you think we should modify it in some way? Anyone?
And I can make the change. So currently it reads, one area of particular concern is the IV therapy specialty practice that requires additional training and carries increased clinical risk. Instead of using although, I can change it to currently licensees must complete initial training to obtain IV certification. And I can add that, I can add specialty there because then they'll know that it's up and above what is currently in your guys' scope.
Yeah, and if you could add something about, which is designated on their license or something like that, that'd be great.
Specialty. Okay. And then the board has no authority to require ongoing CE specific to IV therapy. As IV therapy continues to grow in popularity and complexity, particularly in integrative and wellness-based practices, the board believes it's essential to have the ability to mandate targeted CE to ensure safe, competent, up-to-date practice. So, I mean, it's just one word that's being changed there from although to currently, and then removing the currently under the board currently has no authority to require the ongoing CE. It may make it sound a little bit less dramatic, but it still kind of hits home.
Yeah, I think I like that better, but I'm interested to hear what other people have to say. So if we changed although to currently, added the section, added just something to say that it's designated on their license, and then removed the board currently has no authority to require ongoing CE. Specific to IV therapy. I think it still says the things we need it to say. I just like the way it sounds better.
This is Dr. Yoon. I like this section being in here as an example. I think that it does kind of explain what the need is. I do hear what you're saying, Dr. Thompson. I think that softening it may help. One of the things that I'm actually, the word I'm looking at is particular concern, is the word particular. Because I feel like we had actual areas of harm, and I think we have, right, in this area that, or is it more of like a potential concern or something that's like, I feel like we're doing all of this work to make sure that everybody is well educated, but I'm kind of trying to figure out in this circumstance what we need to clarify, I guess.
So I can remove the one area of particular concern section, and I can say, for example, the IV therapy specialty practice that requires additional training and carries increased clinical risk, and that kind of softens it a little bit. But this was, and I'm going to be very, very blunt about it, but this was one of the areas of concern that the board has made mention of in prior meetings, and it's been an area of concern with the IV therapy advisory committee as well. So again, I'm okay with taking it out. I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys all of the historical context of why this is in here in the first place. So I can definitely soften this a little bit. By making it, for example, one of these areas of, concern is the IV therapy, and then kind of go on, and then using the currently licensees must complete initial training for this specialty certification, and then, the board has no authority to require ongoing CE specific to IV therapy, and as the IV therapy continues to grow. So it kind of softens that paragraph a little bit for you, and I think that that's kind of what you're wanting, if I'm hearing correctly.
I mean, for me, yes. Like I said, I do strongly believe that it would be good for the board to be able to require recertification and specialty certifications for different types of injection therapy as those come on the market. I just think that's safer. But I would also say, as someone who's been working on the IV therapy regulations for a long time and, done a variety of other things regarding IV therapy, I don't have that much concern about the way IV therapy is currently practiced in California, just based on our safety statistics. Because for the most part, our practitioners are practicing very safely. So yeah, just making sure that that's clear. But I do agree that having it is a very clear example, and it was the exact thing that brought this to our attention, that we weren't able to modify CE for anything, and then we realized, wow, we really may need that in a lot of other contexts as well.
Sure. So I'm going to read this as I have kind of amended it, and just let me know if this sounds okay with you. And if it is, then we'll make that amend. So basically, it's going to say, for example, with intravenous therapy, a specialty practice that requires additional specialty training. Oh, you know what? I can either remove specialty practice above, or I can take it out as the certification, but I don't think it needs to be there twice. But it's, so let me read that again. So for example, with intravenous therapy, a specialty practice that requires additional training and carries increased clinical risk, currently licensees must complete initial training to obtain this specialty certification. The board has no authority to require ongoing CE specific to IV therapy, as IV therapy continues to grow in popularity, and then it'll just continue as it's currently written. Does that sound better to you? Does it flow better?
I like that modification.
Okay. Everybody else okay with that?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Give me 1 second so I can log this change. Okay. All right, I got that amendment. Perfect. All right. Again, didn't hurt my feelings at all, see? All right. So that was everything for the actual sunset report. Are there any other questions or comments or edits that I can take for you guys up to this point? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and we're just going to continue on. You can see on page 181, I believe, page 181 through 185 are just placeholders for the attachments that we're going to be including. So page 182, which will have the board's administrative manual that you guys have just adopted today, added here. The relationship to committees, to the board and membership of each committee. So that organizational chart will be there. Major studies, and we're going to go into that right now, is going to be included after the attachment for major studies on page 184. And lastly, page 185 will have all of the year-end organizational charts for the last 4 fiscal years, and we'll include that as all of the attachments. Starting on page 187, we have the narrative summary of the 2025 Sunset Review Survey for the California Board of Naturopathic Medicine. And I'm just going to kind of read through this a little bit so that you guys know kind of what those results were. And that, you know, Dr. Tice and Dr. Davidson went through this with a fine-tooth comb, did a little bit of editing, and then we provided this summary so that people didn't have to go through the survey one by one. So the overview is the California Board of Naturopathic Medicine conducted a comprehensive survey in 2025 to gather feedback from licensed naturopathic doctors regarding their experiences practicing in California. The survey aimed to assess motivations for licensure challenges in practice and that was perceived impact regulation on the profession. A total of 1,625 surveys were distributed across 3 groups, 1,250 to active and inactive current licensees, with 194 that were undeliverable, 375 to canceled licensees, and these are former naturopathic doctors from California. 29 of those were undeliverable. After accounting for the 223 undeliverable surveys, 1,402 surveys were successfully delivered. And of those, 248 responses were received, resulting in a 17.69% response rate. The feedback collected provides valuable insight into the current landscape of naturopathic practice in California and will inform the board's ongoing efforts to support and regulate the professions effectively. The key findings: motivation for licensure in California. Respondents were primarily drawn to California due to, and these were multiple choice questions, but basically 61% for personal or family relocation, 50% for California's patient population and demand for integrative and holistic care, 49% for professional opportunities. Let's see, another 49% defined naturopathic scope of practice. 31% said that the belief that California's regulatory environment would support full use of naturopathic training, and 20% said that the support of naturopathic community and belief in favorable regulatory environment was their reasons. 19% said educational background aligned with California's licensure requirements and the access to California's formulary and therapeutic privileges, 17%. 2, the scope of practice and limitations. Only 22% of respondents felt California's scope of practice very closely met their expectations based on the education and training, while 57% said it somewhat met their expectations and 21% said it did not meet their expectations at all. So if you notice that this is a really big percentage of the surveyed population that just says that the scope here does not match what they've been trained to do. Those commonly cited limitations or barriers included the inability to prescribe certain medications without MD or DO oversight. That was 90%. Restrictions on signing forms. As we mentioned, this was one of the issues in our new issues. 61% of the survey's response to that. Lack of insurance reimbursement or billing challenges, 51%. Restrictions on minor office procedures, 43%. Difficulty collaborating with other healthcare providers, 37%. Restrictions on IV or advanced injection therapies, 36%. Regulatory or administrative burdens, 28%. And basically those did have some of the licensing costs included in that, and then the ability to order diagnostic tests or images. So I was a little shocked by that number of 21% because the ability and the authorization lies within statute that NDs can order these diagnostic tests and imaging. So I have heard, though, that there's been some issues with NDs getting turned down from some of these imaging centers. And I think a lot of that has to do with the insurance carriers not recognizing naturopathic doctors. And so I think that has a lot to do with that. But it was just shocking to see that that was in here. 2A, the collaboration. Of these 68 respondents who reported difficulty collaborating with other healthcare providers, the type of difficulty reported was 38% for all collaborations, 31% for referrals to other healthcare providers only, and 22% for ND physician formulary protocols only. Few respondents commented that there appears to be a lack of awareness or appreciation on the part of the healthcare providers of ND training and scope of practice. And I think a lot of that has to do, and I think we've discussed this before, with just the lack of education from, just other providers, practitioners, and, the consumer of what naturopathic medicine is and what naturopathic doctors actually are educated and trained to do. 3, the impact on patient care and barriers to treatment. 83% of respondents reported that these limitations impacted or somewhat impacted their ability to provide comprehensive care. And licensees expressed frustration at being unable to practice to the full extent of their training, often resulting in fragmented care or unnecessary referrals. Retention and attrition concerns. 41% of respondents indicated that the practice limitations influenced their decision to leave, consider leaving, or not renew their license in California. 41% is a big number when it comes to licensed population, so I just wanted to throw that out there. The top reasons included financial challenges, 63%, dissatisfaction with the scope of practice, 56%, 29% inability to bill insurance, and 25% relocation or retirement. The unlicensed practice and public confusion. 52% of respondents agreed or strongly agreed that unlicensed traditional naturopaths create confusion and diminish the value of licensure here in California. 93% of those respondents also provided a description of how this has impacted their practice or decision to maintain licensure in California. 95% of the licensees answering this question shared anecdotes of patients receiving unsafe or misleading care from unlicensed individuals, leading to mistrust and reputational harm for licensed NDs. Demographics and practice settings. Most respondents practiced in solo private practices. 53% in group or integrative clinics is 34%. Sacramento, San Diego, Los Angeles, Orange, and Santa Clara County made up 51% of the most common counties of practice. The majority have been licensed in California for 8 to 15 years. It's 40%. And 30% have been practicing in California for more than 15 years. The themes from the open-ended responses, 104 respondents offered additional input in response to the final item of this survey, which asked, is there anything else you would like the board to know about your experience practicing or seeking licensure in California? 61% said that they desired for independent prescribing rights and broader scope of practice. 15% had frustration with high licensure and CE costs. 6% said that there was a need for public education on the distinction between licensed NDs and unlicensed practitioners. 9% provided appreciation for the board's efforts, but called for stronger advocacy and modernization of regulations. And 9% said that there was other or not applicable, no clear opinion. So basically that is the survey summary for you. Were there any questions about this? And this is kind of where we gathered some of this information to support some of this information that we placed in the sunset, which may have been anecdotal until we got the survey back and we actually seen these numbers. And now we can say, okay, this is the real reason that people are leaving California or that are thinking about leaving California. Excuse me. Again, so just wanted to give you that information. Are there any questions or comments about this sunset survey?
I'm just impressed that you got that survey done in the time that you had. It's amazing. I really didn't know that was going to happen. So kudos to everyone involved in that and to our licensees for being responsive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think providing one CE credit was a big push for that, but you know.
That was great.
All right. So the very next section here, which starts on page 192, is the actual survey itself. So if you guys have time and want some reading, you can go back and actually look at those. But basically, it's the whole survey in its entirety. Okay. And now we have. I think if we can go to the next slide, I believe, moderator.
I have a quick comment about the survey. This is Dr. Singleton. So Rebecca, as we were discussing the drug formulary exclusion, and I think Dr. Yoon asked if it was going to be included or the findings were going to be included in this. Mm-hmm. And you said, no, that wouldn't be possible. I think that was the case, correct?
For the information being in the sunset report?
Yeah. I misunderstand you. The only reason why I'm bringing this up is as you were talking about the survey results, this is always the case, as I remember over the years, but you know, the reason why people are deciding to leave is because of the scope expansion. So, and specifically because of the drug formulary. So it seems like And I don't know if this is going to be possible to do, but it is a big issue that a lot of our members would like to see. And if that is something that we can include, that would be addressing their top concerns.
Absolutely understood. Thank you for that. I totally understand. So we did not have time to incorporate what was discussed in that specifically in the Sunset Report. We have alluded to the reasons and how, you know, we are looking to make some amendments or whatever statutorily to fix that. However, this isn't the only time that we're going to have a chance to provide this information to the Sunset committees. Again, once they get this report, they're going to have questions, and most of the time those questions are going to come back and say, you know, we noticed that the scope of practice seems to be an issue. And I don't know if this is going to be the exact questions that's going to come, but in the past, these are the types of questions that are kind of provided back to us in the background paper. We will be getting that background paper after we submit the Sunset. So basically what happens is the committees will take a look at this. They'll have questions about the issues that we have brought forward in the Sunset Report, and then they're going to request more additional information from us. And then that's going to be the time where we can say, you know, we've been doing the work. Here's the advisory committee's recommendations to the full board. The full board took this stance, and these are the recommendations that the board is requesting or asking for from the legislature. And at that point, you know, it'll kind of move on from there. But this is not the only chance that we have to submit this information to them. I do believe strongly that these questions will come up in background, because they always do. And so we will have a opportunity to provide this information that has just kind of recently been provided or brought to the full board, to, you know, to the legislature.
Sure. Okay.
And then also, just to clarify, Rebecca, there are several places in which we talk about the issues with scope and formulary in the Sunset. It's just that the proposed exclusionary formulary isn't in there, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Do we get to pick a cover? Is that what's coming next?
Yeah, we do. And I'm sorry, I thought I'm so sorry. I was so like spread thin this time. So I thought that I had given the proper PowerPoint to the moderators, but I think that I might not have. So let me see if I can bring up the Sunset Review Report covers for you really quick, and I'll see if I can share my screen, but just give me a moment to get this information up.
This is the moderator. Rebecca, if you click the share button down at the bottom, it should let you share your screen.
Okay, perfect. Let me bring it up on my computer first really quick. This is 8. So sorry, give me one moment. Okay. All right, and let's see here. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is the fun part that you guys actually get to do that probably isn't so tedious for the Sunset Report. These are some of the examples or samples of the report cover that our production team or publications team has put together for us. And so I labeled them sample A through sample F. And so the first one, sample A, very colorful, very pretty. Don't know that it's something that you guys want to move forward with. So we're going to kind of go through all of them, and then I guess we'll kind of take a vote from the members of the board to see which one we want to move forward with. And then just to keep in mind that whatever cover you guys go with is going to set the tone for the rest of the like colors and divider pages and the back cover and that kind of thing. So that'll be done after we pick a cover. So here you'll see the sample A. Sample B is kind of more natural. It has some of the herbs or whatever in there. A little bit of a different tone to it. It's got the green and orange instead of the reds. Moving forward to sample C, which I think is probably my favorite. This is a little bit more natural. It also has some of the kind of bioengineering kind of look to it, where it also has if you look here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it has like the shield for medicine, showing that we are, keeping consumers safe from harm. It's got some of the, drug pictures and some of the plant pictures, stuff like that. So there's this one, sample C. Sample D has looks like the tree of life, a blue tone in the writing, very colorful. I thought that was really pretty too. And then we move forward to sample E. Sample E looks very, very similar to our last sunset report. I think the only difference is the last sunset report also had a jump rope included, and maybe a sneaker or two. So again, it incorporates kind of the medical side and the lifestyle side to it with the blue text. And then sample F, we have the sunset review report in the green tones, very earthy, very natural. It's, a kind of a hand-drawn look to it. So I'm going to leave this to you guys for a vote. I hope that these are okay. If you guys are not happy with any of these, or if you want the text of one incorporated with a picture of another one, you can do that as well. So I'm happy to take any recommendations.
Are there any comments? Are there specific ones that people like that they want to talk about?
This is Dr. Singleton. I liked sample C as the first choice, and I think it was sample F as my second.
Okay, so let me go back. This one is C. I think I thought that one was a really nice one too.
C
And then
Charlie, yeah, and then sample E. Sorry about that.
Sample E, okay. And so sample E is the one that was similar but a little bit different than our last one. So okay, I've got your two votes. I have the first and second choice, first choice C and second choice E for Singleton.
And if I could just give some, clarification, I think sample C, let me pull it up again. I think it's just more in line with what our asks are and where the profession is going. It kind of gives homage to our technical expertise. I think some of the others, if you didn't know what we did, you would assume that we were chefs or we were homeopathic doctors.
I think I agree with that. I think that's kind of where my mind was when I was looking at these. So I agree. And I thought maybe the one with the flowers was a little too girly. When my daughter's seen that, she's like, "Oh, that's pretty." I'm like, "Of course it is." So that was just kind of the feedback that I got with these. But yeah.
Yeah, this is Dr. Thompson. I would say I personally dislike pink, so I did not like the first one. I while I thought both the ones that were like food herb based were pretty, I agree that I don't think those represent our profession very well. Maybe our personal lives, but not really who we are as doctors. The one that looks like the previous Sunset Report, I had that same concern about that one because it's basically just a stethoscope and a salad.
Yeah.
And the very last one I just find aesthetically unpleasing, the green one. So I would say, like, for me, I like, actually really like the tree, and it kind of takes us out of any sort of medical imagery, and we're like, it's sunset. Like it's a sunset picture with the tree of light. And I thought it was really beautiful. I don't like the blue lettering with that. I would change the color of the lettering to something else, but I really like that one. And I also like the one that Vera and Rebecca like.
Okay, so C. So D and C. Which one would be your first and which one would be your second choice?
I'm on the edge because I think I like D best, but I do appreciate the the scientific bend of C, because I feel like as doctors, we're really cutting edge with science all the time. We're just trying to learn new things. And whenever I go to a conference, it's all about the biochemistry of this or the physiology of that. So, I could go either way on that. Aesthetically, of course, I like the tree best, but this might be a better cover.
Okay. And so I know you said you did not like the blue on this one here.
Mhm.
Would you like the sunset review portion, this section right here, to match the green from our logo, maybe like it is?
I don't know. I was thinking maybe like a dark rust color to go with the picture, but
So something more similar to the color of this sunset review.
yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And she did say that that is an option. We can definitely do that. So you like D, and is D your first choice then?
Yes, but C is a close second.
Okay. So D with one text or with a text, and then C a close second. Okay, perfect. So I got yours.
Dr. Yun, what do you think?
So I do like pretty and colorful.
Uh-huh.
I am drawn to the first one just because I'm like, I think government reports like this is like a, fun for the eyes. It's vivid colors. However, I do completely understand your viewpoints. I do like actually sample A's color for the heading.
Okay.
I think that one would look actually better for C, because C, for some reason, that kind of brick red, you can't really read the font very well. I don't know. It doesn't look very clear to me.
Okay, so you want this entire portion
Yes.
for C.
For C.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess since I've already heard like so many negatives about A, I'll go for C with the changing in the color of the font.
Okay. And if there were a second, which would you go for on the second? Would it be A?
You know what? Honestly, like I think it would be A. I don't really love any other ones. Again, I do agree, like everything else would be like a dietitian or nutritionist kind of look to it. I think there is a little bit of the spirit of naturopathic medicine missing kind of in this, in some of these drawings or illustrations, but yeah.
Okay.
For this purpose, C or A.
Okay, perfect. All right.
All right, Dr. Tice.
Well, I would say that I probably liked number 3 or C and the last one. I kind of prefer the picture to almost be not very memorable because it's not what I want people to remember from the document. So I feel like those two are kind of simple and plain. And yeah, that's kind of how I see it.
Perfect. And would you be okay with C if we were to change it with the text from the illustration in A with this
Oh,
color?
like the color? Yeah.
Yeah, the black and brick. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
To this one. Okay. So C, and then the second one for you would have been the E also. Okay.
Oh, not E, the last one, the one that's green.
Oh, the last one. I'm sorry, F. Okay. Perfect.
All right, and then Dr. Mukherjee, what do you think?
Yeah, these are all fun to look at. Wow. Just hearing you all, I mean, I think C to me really resonates with me, probably the best. Really kind of clearly denotes where we are, where we're going with the vision. I also like A because I think it's nice to show the pills and the medications with the stethoscope. I'm okay with the pink. I am. So it does pop. So I think those are the two I like the most. I think it kind of really drives home that this is a serious discussion.
Perfect. All right. Well, so as it stands, we've got 4 members that liked C, which is right here, the most. And if we were to take the second choice, it would have been A with 2 counts there. We also have 2 of the folks that chose the C illustration that would prefer the text be the colors of the one here, the black and the brick color.
I also think that would be better.
Okay. Perfect.
I agree with Dr. Yoon that the smaller lettering being brick is hard to read.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So right now, I think as it stands, the choice that everybody's going for is, or the majority is going for, would be illustration sample C with the text of illustration sample A.
Can I ask one question about that?
Sure.
Can we look at the text of A?
Absolutely. There we go.
Is the fact that that lettering is in black going to clash? Like, I agree that it should be switched, but I just wonder if the fact that the lettering around the larger lettering is in black is going to clash with the picture in C, because I don't see black anywhere in there.
Let's take a look.
Because like down here, the lettering's in green and rust, and then at the top it's in green and rust, but I wonder if we should do the smaller lettering in a dark green rather than a black, is all I'm saying, just to go with everything else. But
Absolutely.
But I am not super attached to that.
I think there is black in the background, and I think that will kind of enhance a little bit of the lettering.
Yeah, and black doesn't really clash with anything.
Yeah, I think it would be fine.
Okay, great.
Perfect. All right, so I think you guys may have a motion here to call
Do we
out.
motion on just the cover, or do we motion on the whole report with that cover?
Why don't we check with legal to see what's more appropriate? I could go either way, but let's check with legal.
I think it's probably better to do 2 separate ones.
Okay. So why don't, since we're already here, why don't we go ahead and do a motion for this one? And basically that would be to approve illustration sample C with the text from sample A.
I motion for us to approve sample C with the text from sample A as the cover.
Perfect.
I'll second it. This is Dr. Yoon.
Great.
All right. And then do you want to restate that motion, Rebecca?
Sure. So we have a motion to approve the illustration sample C with text from illustration sample A for the cover of the Sunset Report. I have a motion from Dr. Thompson and a second from you.
Does anyone have any comments on that before we call for public comment? Okay, doesn't look like it. So I think that we then need to go through the different locations and check for public members. So this is Dr. Thompson. There are no public members in San Rafael. And Dr. Yoon.
There are no public members in San Francisco.
Dr. Tice.
There are none here in Fresno.
Dr. Mukherjee.
None in Vallejo.
Dr. Singleton.
None here in Lafayette.
And do any of the public members in the El Dorado room have any comments?
Not at this time.
All right, moderator, do we have anyone online?
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click the raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
All right, then we can vote on the cover.
Great. All right. So we've got the motion to approve illustration sample C with text sample A for the cover. Dr. Dara Thompson.
Aye.
Dr. Mina Yoon.
Aye.
Dr. Vera Singleton.
Aye.
Dr. Satara Tice.
Aye.
Great. And Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Aye.
Great. And that moves with 5 ayes. And now we can jump back to the...
We have to actually approve the sunset report.
Correct. With the amendments taken. And let me read those really quick. Okay, so basically we would need a motion to approve the 2026 Sunset Review Report with the amendments to make the changes on page 107, pages 119, page 24, page 187, and page 180 as requested by the board.
I motion for approval for these changes on the sunset review and acceptance of the document as stated.
I second.
Dr. Singleton.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what was the second?
I said, okay.
Sorry,
Dr. Tice.
Dr. Tice? Okay, perfect. All right, we got the motion Singleton and the second from Tice.
Wonderful. All right. Is there any further discussion by board members on this? Right. So we have to just check for public members again. There are no public members in San Rafael. Dr. Yoon.
There are no members in San Francisco.
Dr. Tice.
there are none here in Fresno.
Dr. Mukherjee.
There are no members of the public in Vallejo.
And Dr. Singleton.
No public members in Lafayette.
Does anyone in the El Dorado room have any comments on the sunset report as a whole and the amendments that we are approving?
No, just if any of the board members have any questions for our public member sitting with us today, sorry, I was going to call you a doctor, Miss Yapana Lamar.
Thank you for being here. Okay, I don't see any questions, so then let's open for web comment.
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click the raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Wonderful. Okay, let's close that. And then I think we need to do our vote.
Yep. So I have a motion by Dr. Singleton to approve the 2026 Sunset Review Report with edits. And I had a second from Dr. Tice, Dr. Dara Thompson.
Aye.
Dr. Mina Yoon,
Aye.
Dr. Vera Singleton,
Aye.
Dr. Satara Tice,
Aye.
Dr. Deparshi Mukherjee.
Aye.
Right, and that moves with 5 ayes. Thank you so much.
All right, wonderful. At this point, I know we're supposed to set future meeting dates and discuss other items, but I worried we're getting into questionable legal territory as far as not taking lunch yet. And I'm wondering if we should perhaps table that until our December meeting, which is coming up in just a couple weeks.
That sounds fine with me.
Yes, I think that seems like a good choice. Does anyone have anything burning that they feel like we need to have on the agenda for the December meeting? I don't want to cut anyone off.
Is there anything that we can do to get some more board members?
That is my biggest concern as well.
I'll add that. Again, that's in the Sunset Report as being a major issue. We've had 2 vacancies on our board, one since 2019. It makes it hard to do our work. So this has been, an issue of contention for a while. So DCA does know about it. I know that they're working as well as I am with the governor's office, appointments office, to get this done. And I'm sure as it gets more crucial, those appointments will be made. Again, if you know of any naturopathic doctors who are willing and wanting to be on our board, please have them contact the board. We'll make that happen.
Rebecca, is that the issue? Is that we don't have enough applicants?
From my understanding, there's very limited applicants, and that may have been the issue. They've went through a couple. We've not had any appointments, so I'm not sure if it's, the governor's getting the, people that he wants, applicants that he's looking for. So
is this something that we can reach out to the CNDA and have them ask their members to?
Yeah, and they have before, and I know that we can put it on our social media as well. So this isn't on our agenda today, but we can put this on for the next meeting as well.
Okay.
All right. Any other burning issues? Wonderful. Well, is there any reason I can't adjourn right now, legal?
Well, since we did have some board discussion about this, we should still take public comment before we adjourn.
Okay. There are no public members in San Rafael. Dr. Yin?
No members of the public in San Francisco.
Dr. Tice?
There are none here in Fresno.
Dr. Mukherjee?
No members of the public in Vallejo.
And Dr. Singleton?
No members here in Lafayette.
Does anyone have any comments about our dwindling board population in the El Dorado?
There are no comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay, moderator, any online comments?
This is the moderator for members of the public on WebEx. If you would like to make a public comment on this item, please click the raise hand icon, or if you're an audio only participant, you can raise your hand by pressing *3 on your device. All right, and it appears there are no requests for public comment at this time.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm sorry, I do have a comment that I'd like to make, and I just wanted to say thank you to all of the board members for the support in getting this report done. It was a big lift, and normally the board members don't participate in actually the writing of it. So, you know, the review that the advisory committee provided back was just very helpful. So I just wanted to give that thanks here in a public forum. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you all for all your hard work. It's been a lot of meetings, but we're almost there. All right. So I am adjourning the November 19th, 2025 meeting of California Board of Naturopathic Medicine. Everyone go get some lunch, and we'll see you all in December. Take care.
44 p.m. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Take care, everyone.
Yes, 1:44 p.m.
Have a good afternoon.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving. Bye.